think the key challenge we face is to increase the number of jobs to young South Africans, and to do that we'll need a faster and more inclusive growth. Growth that is driven not only by the large corporations, they are important, but also by young people entering as entrepreneurs and as business people, bringing more black South Africans in as industrialists, and ensuring that we attract the support of investment, because investment is a driver ultimately of growth and jobs. Our challenge then is how to ensure that we bring more investment into South Africa, we get the higher growth rates, and we create employment. I shared with the delegates at the conference today that if you take as your metric employment creation, then South Africa has done fairly well, both in the growth rate of jobs as well as in the total number of jobs, compared to almost any list of peer countries. Between 2010, when we adopted our economic strategy called the New Growth Path, the economy created 2.7 million new jobs. But if you measure it against the number of people who need employment, we need to do extraordinary things. We need to do more than a typical economy needs to do to be able to find enough jobs for young people. And that requires promotion of small business. So what we're doing is we will be introducing in Parliament, after Cabinet approval, a bill dealing with amendments to the Competition Act, so that we deal with the high levels of concentration in the economy and exclusionary conduct that makes it very difficult for new entrants to come in. And that is going to be a key part of the package to build a more inclusive economy. Part of what we do with the significant investment in higher education through the fee-free arrangement for young people from poor and working class backgrounds and families is to boost the level of skills in the economy. And then of course we've got to address infrastructure. A modern economy requires strong logistics, it requires access to your key utilities, water and electricity. I think on energy, we've done well over the last few years. We've now produced, just over the last 4 years, we've expanded the generating capacity of our power stations by bringing some new power stations, particularly renewable, but also some coal from Medupi on stream. And in fact, the new energy that we've put on the grid is about 8,500 megawatts. That's roughly equivalent to the energy needs of 3 cities the size of Johannesburg. That's a significant boost to energy in the economy. We need to do similar bold things on logistics, on water, on ICT. ICT is really the engine for future economic expansion. Broadband access, making sure that we have the necessary capabilities and infrastructure to take the opportunities of the new economies, the new technology-driven economies. And then of course we're also investing in social infrastructure. Health is a critical contributor to a nation's global competitiveness. And so if we want to be able to have the South African economy performing at a structurally better level than we've been able to do, it means doing all of those things. And then as far as market expansion is concerned, the key story for us is the African continent, is exporting more to the rest of the continent, partly through integrating our trade regimes. We're building a free trade area on the continent, but also by a more dedicated, determined partnership between individual entrepreneurs, government, and the finance sector to break into markets and to help develop the rest of the continent. I think as I put all of this together, ultimately what it is about is social partnerships. Partnerships between business and labor on the shop floor, and partnerships between investors and government at a macro level to ensure that we create conditions in which we both foster greater investment, but we also address the challenges of South Africans, of young people, of those who feel excluded.
Minister, still on going back to infrastructure development, how much is being channeled for that particular space?
We're spending about R1 billion per working day on infrastructure at the moment. So that's a significant investment in resources. And what we need to do now is to make sure that money goes to the most critical infrastructure, that money is not diverted through corruption and through just poor planning and weak execution. So we need to ensure that we get more bang for each buck, as they say, that we invest in infrastructure. Part of it requires producing more engineers and artisans, and so we are part of the skills development program of the country is to focus more on these hard, necessary skills and ensure that our higher education system produces these.